Hey, welcome back guys. So we are putting the new Seedance 2.0 4K engine inside Higgsfield to the absolute stress test. I hand painted an entirely custom asset, a heavily stylized painterly 2D character sheet, and an original background plate. So our mission is simple. Can Seedance 2.0 4K actually respect my exact brushwork, understand the 2D volume, and animate across a 3D plane without melting the texture into mush? Well, let's find out. All right guys, welcome to the Sketch Lab.
I want to thank Higgsfield for sponsoring this video.
So to properly control the aesthetic, you have to build the ground truth yourself. This was the base image generation before the treatment. Flat, clean, and completely lacking soul. So my ultimate vision for my upcoming short, Kingdom Come, was deeply inspired by The Prince of Egypt, which is hands down one of my absolute favorite classic 2D films of all time. And I wanted that epic scale, those sharp chiseled character angles, and the dramatic sweeping lighting of traditional celluloid. To capture that, I studied the heavy overpainting workflow used in Higgsfield's upcoming animation short, I'm gonna mess this up, Kök Börü. I think I butchered that one, I'm sorry guys. And combined it with that classic 2D cinematic language. So just to show you, so here is the generated image from GPT. And this is the overpaint that I did. I brought this into Procreate and did an overpainting. So I have my brushes that I like to use. So I used the smudge tool and the regular paint tool inside of Procreate and created this look, this style, which I was going for. And of course, did the, little close-up view, and then the full body view. See here. And then the side view. Okay. And here's a sort of a quick process of painting, doing the overpainting. And this is a similar method they use for Kök Börü short film. I've used this process before. I've used it on actually creating my own 3D model because I couldn't get the lighting right, or the shadows and things like that. So in order to solve that, I created my own 3D model, brought it into Procreate or Photoshop, and do a paint over. And so that seemed to really accelerate my my character design and environmental design process. And I also did the same thing. Well, I needed a shadow over his face because he's in a distance, and I wanted to keep it like a mystery in the beginning. So I added a shadow over his face. So I had two versions, so two character sheets. So one without the shadow and one with the shadow. And then of course had to design Satan. And give him a very similar outfit, but all black. You can't see his face, and some weird, symbols on his belt, and a metallic staff, and having some, some tear and on the bottom there, and so I think that came out pretty good. So, and that's the same thing. It was first it was a image generation, but all inspired by a sketch that I did. So this is like a quick test of like what I want him to look, and brought it into GPT and made a 3D version of this character, and then did the whole paint over process, which really was really fast. It didn't take long at all. All the lighting and the shadows and the textures are solved. You kind of know where everything's at, and then you just focus on just adding some brush strokes to the character. So once our character sheet were locked, I jumped into Claude to build the engine prompt. So the secret here isn't just describing what happens in the scene, it's putting strict mathematical rails on the model's internal bias. So we want zero improvisation on the art style from the machine. To help you replicate this exact look, I've compiled the Claude prompt workflow and style strings into a clean Google Doc, which I've linked down in the description box below for you to copy and paste into your own projects. So, so as an example, so it says stop. It starts with a style, stop motion animation, stepped frame by frame, a hand painted 2D moving oil painting, not clay, not puppets, not 3D, true 12 frames per second, animated on 2s, each pose held 2 frames when snapping forward, never gliding, constant painterly boil across the brushwork, no smooth interpolation. That's key right there. So no smooth interpolation, no motion blur, no morphing, no liquid. So it goes on and on. So it's very detailed. So once again, I'll leave this prompt in the description down below. So now that we got the prompt locked in, our image is locked in, so we just got to bring all that into Seedance. So now we are ready to create our video. So we have our finalized character sheet for Jesus. We have some of our backgrounds here, and this is a done with GPT image 2 matte painting. So I'll leave that prompt in the description down below as well, so you can create your backgrounds in this similar style here. So it's like a retro matte painting kind of background, and GPT does a really good job with the brush strokes. And again, you can actually go in here and paint on top of this as well and make this your own. All right, so now we're gonna jump into generate this video using the Seedance 4K. All right, so to achieve the look that we're going for, I utilize the raw horsepower of the new Seedance 2.0 4K. So this native 4K is critical because if you generate at a low resolution and use a basic post-process upscaler, you find paint textures turn into muddy digital noise. So generating natively at 4K inside Seedance allows the engine to resolve the actual grain of the brushwork during movement. So now let's look at how the engine handled it in terms of style hold. Seedance 2.0 4K is an absolute game changer. So the high fidelity renders onto the chalk lines and tattered hemlines. It came out beautiful. So here's where the engine struggles. It kept trying to interpolate the movement smoothly, even when instructing an advanced model to output a stepped traditional 2D film cadence. The native AI architecture still tries to make the motion fluid and mechanical, but here's a trick for that. So let's jump into Premiere Pro real quick. All right, so here is Premiere Pro. And so so when it's not giving you that 12 frames per second look with Seedance, don't panic. So I don't want you to burn through your credits. You can do this in Premiere Pro or maybe even CapCut or things like that. But within Premiere Pro, you can go into effects, and it's called Posterized Time. And so once you type into that, wherever your effects tab is, you'll see Posterized Time. So I've already done that to this clip here. And so I got it down to, so once you go to Posterized Time in effects, you can see the frame rate, so you can change your frame rate. So it's actually defaulted to, it'll default to 24. So I brought it down to 8. And so here's the, here's what it looked like now. So it's 8 frames per second. And I also slowed it down as well. So if you right click and go to speed duration, and then you, and I brought it down to 70%. So, so you just have to experiment and see what feels right to your clip. But so that's how you do it. So instead of burning through credits, use your video editing program and whatever you use, and see if they have that Posterized Time effect or a plugin that can help you adjust your frame rate. All right, guys. So that's it. That's pretty much it, guys. So here's the full clip of the this desert scene.
I am what my father made me.
All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that clip. So the final verdict, the hybrid pipeline wins by matching human overpainting with Claude's prompting constraints. So the power of Seedance 4K and a quick post-production frame rate lock, you can create independent animation that looks like it came from a major feature studio. So we are officially leaving the era of random text prompts and entering the era of absolute director control. So I left the full pipeline guide and prompt link in the description box below. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.